Hello, it's Elisa, and today I want to talk about creating an orientation for your online course. One of the reasons why it's important to create an orientation is because you want to orient your students to this online course. For many of them, it will be a new experience, and you have to train them to be successful in your courses. Plus, according to Quality Matters rubric, they suggest that in order to have a quality online class, that you create a course overview and introduction. And that would include introductions that make it clear how the student is to get started and introduction to where they can find various course components. It's also a good idea to have a statement that introduces the students to the purpose of the course and to its components. And if you're creating a hybrid course, you want to make sure that you clarify the relationship between the face-to-face and the online components. Also, you want to set students straight with the etiquette expectations within the course. That includes for online discussions and emails and other forms of communication. You want to make sure that they're clearly stated. You want to have a self-introduction by the instructor. And also you want to make sure that students are asked to introduce themselves to the class. Okay? So let's go through and quickly look at some of these elements in action. So here you can see my Canvas course, and right away when students jump into the course, they can see that they're in the right spot. There's the name of the course, the section number, and there's a big button that says Get Started Orientation. When they click there, I've created sort of a scavenger hunt-ish like list for them to complete to get done, and included in this list is a way for me to collect information about my students. So I have a student information form. I also want to make sure that they know how to check their school emails, so there's a link to that and some information. Also, I want for them to update their Canvas profile, so I have an assignment for them to do that. And then they have to buy the course materials, so I tell them to buy the book and all the information they need about that. And then the book has an online supplement, so I want for them to register for that. So there's a link for them to go and register for the online supplement. We use EGCC accounts at Maricopa, at Glendale. So students, if they need to use the library or computers on campus, will need to know that. So I have a link so they can get that information. And then they have to go introduce themselves in the class introduction. Then there's some videos. There's the syllabus that they need to read, and then I give them a orientation quiz to see that they've completed all of this. If students can complete this list, then I allow for them to continue on in the class. So this is what we do during the first week. So first, let's look at the student information form. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And basically, it's just a form that I've created in Google Docs. And I want to collect the students' names, their email addresses to make sure they know them, what section they're in if I have more than one, if they're using any personal email, and then phone number so that I can get a hold of them. Then there's just a couple of other questions that I ask to make sure that they understand what is necessary for them to move on in this class. And that regards knowing their MEID, that's their student ID here, and then also making sure they understand that they have to buy the book and that they have to check their email. Now, once students have completed this form, all of the information is dumped into an Excel spreadsheet, and what I can then do is export that all out into my address book in my Gmail account, and I can make folders and groups with my students. So that's a nice tool to have available. All right, next I want for students to be able to introduce themselves. So I created a discussion forum, and in here students will come in and introduce themselves. I make this a little more exciting than just this generic version. I have them go out to Animoto and add 5 photos and 5 keywords that introduce them. So they hopefully will find photos. They don't have to be personal photos of themselves, but they can use photos of anything that they like. So once they finish that, then they go into their orientation videos. And there's a different series of videos that you can create for students. One, I like to introduce myself, so I combine the introduction video of myself along with the video introduction to the class. So in this video here, you can see that I'm introducing myself. Welcome to English 101. This is Dr. Elisa Cooper, and I'll be your instructor for this semester of English 101. Now, if you're watching this video, that means that you've registered for one of my classes. I teach English 101 online, hybrid, which is usually one day a week, and then So in this video, which is only about 10 minutes long, I introduced them to myself, but I also introduced them to the structure of the class. So the students will understand clearly what it means to be in an online course, and also, if it's hybrid, what it means to be in a hybrid course. Now you can separate those two out. Some people don't like to have their video of themselves, so they just sort of write an introduction introducing the class to them, but then they have maybe a video of overview of the class. And then a third video that you can add is a video that helps students understand how to use the course management system. So again, this is just a video that's very short, about 5 minutes.
This is Dr. Cooper, and this is a screencast for the ENG 102 Freshman Composition course. Today's screencast is the third video in the orientation.
So here you can see I'm just going through Canvas. I show them where to click, where they need to go to turn in assignments, to take quizzes, and I basically click all around the Canvas site so students know how to use Canvas when they're done with this orientation. And then the last thing I want for them to do is to read the syllabus, and this just links to the syllabus that's here on Canvas. Another good idea might be to give them a link that downloads the syllabus so they can make a copy of it. And they are finished reading the syllabus, watching the videos, they can then take the orientation quiz. And the quiz will quiz them on all of the things that I just had them do, including the original list where they had to create the scavenger hunt, so to speak. So the syllabus is very important, so that's why I make it part of reading the syllabus as part of the orientation. And it gives me a chance to give them my contact information and office hours so students know when and how to contact you, and also what materials that they would need. But this is also the place where you can lead them in the direction of online learning. Here are the skills needed for online learning. Students can click the link to see a document that was created that will show them what skills they need to have to be successful in an online course. So that's helpful for them, because if they look at this list and say, oh, I can't do any of this stuff, then that's a good red flag for them to know maybe this isn't the right course for them. It's also your chance to talk about the etiquette that I mentioned earlier as a Quality Matters rubric item. So you can put in here the communications etiquette that you expect from your students, but it's also important for you to let your students know how long it will take for you to respond to them. So when contacting your instructor, you can expect a response within 48 hours is what our policy is. So if students are contacting you during office hours, you can let them know that you can respond sooner. Okay? So that's basically what the course orientation is all about. So when you go into the modules, you will see that the first module is the orientation. So students jump right into this page here and get started with all of the steps to the orientation. And then once they're finished, they can continue on with their coursework week 1 and week 2. And obviously week 1 is basically a repeat of what they were supposed to do during the orientation. So that's what I have for you in terms of creating an orientation for your students in an online course. It's very important, and I hope you will get started with your own orientation today.